We're in for an electrifying discussion today, with a deep dive into some of the most pressing decisions on the horizon for the Philadelphia Eagles. As we approach the start of a new season, the team finds itself at a crossroads, with key moves looming that could shape the future of the franchise. If you've been keeping up with the latest updates, you already know that there are several important decisions on the table, and two of them stand out as particularly crucial for the Eagles management. Today, we'll unpack these decisions, as well as take a closer look at some intriguing comments made by an Eagles player regarding the offensive line. Let's start by discussing the concerns raised by one of the players during a recent radio appearance. The player, who is familiar with the intricacies of the Eagles' offensive line, expressed genuine concerns about the depth at this position. He pointed out that, while there's undeniable talent on the roster, the line has faced challenges, especially in terms of consistency and durability. As many fans are aware, injuries to key players during the Super Bowl highlighted just how thin the line can be at times, and this player's observations reflect those struggles. In fact, his comments raised an interesting question. If one of the starting offensive linemen goes down, who will step up to fill the void? This concern, while valid, isn't new, but it has become even more pressing after the Eagles lost some significant pieces from the offensive line in the last year. The departures have left the team with some gaps to fill, and there's now an expectation that the Eagles will likely need to draft at least one offensive lineman in the upcoming NFL draft for the 2025 season. This move makes sense given how important the offensive line is to the Eagles' success. In the past, the team has prided itself on having one of the strongest, most reliable offensive lines in the NFL. But with the loss of key contributors and the need to add depth, management seems to be positioning itself to make some significant changes. Recently, the Eagles made a smart acquisition to help strengthen the line, addressing some of the concerns the player mentioned. While this acquisition may not have turned heads in the way some blockbuster trades do, it's a move that should pay off in the long run. The player who was brought in has faced some challenges throughout his career, but has shown flashes of brilliance in certain games. Specifically, his ability to excel at run blocking could be exactly what the Eagles need to bolster their front five. Having a player who can dominate in the trenches will be crucial, especially as the team continues to make a push for another deep playoff run. Moving on to another topic, we can't overlook the looming decisions surrounding one of the Eagles' top tight ends, Dallas Goedert. His situation is another area of concern for the team, and the front office faces some difficult choices. Goedert, while undeniably talented, has had his fair share of inconsistencies over the past few seasons. He's one of the league's top tight ends when healthy, but his production has been all over the place, and his injury history raises red flags. He's missed significant time, and while he's come up big in the postseason, especially during the recent Super Bowl run, the question remains, is he worth the hefty price tag? With a contract worth over $14 million a year, Goedert is one of the highest paid players at his position, but his numbers haven't always reflected that. In fact, he posted less than 500 yards receiving in the 2024 season and struggled to break 600 yards in 2023. Compare that to his 2022 season, when he surpassed 700 yards, and 2021, when he went over 800 yards, and it's clear that consistency has been an issue. This inconsistency raises a difficult question for the Eagles. Do they continue to ride with Goedert, or do they move on? His ability to contribute as both a receiver and a blocker has been crucial to the team's offense, but his inability to stay healthy has been a problem. Moreover, the Eagles' investment in him might not match the production they've seen on the field. As the team approaches the 2025 season, the front office will have to weigh his value carefully. While he's an important piece of the offense, the Eagles can't afford to pay him a premium if his numbers aren't reflecting that kind of performance. Goedert is still young and has plenty of talent, but at some point, the team may need to make a tough decision about his future with the team. Interestingly, despite these concerns, Goedert has proven to be an invaluable asset during the playoffs. He's ranked second in franchise history for receiving yards in the postseason, trailing only one other player. During the Eagles' run to the Super Bowl, Goedert made several key receptions that kept the offense moving, including a huge catch for nearly 70 yards in one critical game. His ability to step up in big moments is something the Eagles can't ignore, but his injury history and the inconsistency in his regular season performance are certainly concerning. With his current contract set to expire, the Eagles must decide whether to extend his contract or look elsewhere for a future tight end. As part of the evaluation process, the team is also keeping an eye on the tight end class in the upcoming draft. The Eagles have already signed a couple of promising tight ends, including Harrison Bryant and Kylan Grandson, and they've reportedly been meeting with several others. With the depth of talent at the position this year, the Eagles may find themselves in a position where it makes more sense to go in a different direction with Goedert's spot. Whether they extend him, trade him, or let him walk in free agency is something that will play out over the coming months, but it's clear that the front office is carefully considering all their options. In addition to Goedert's situation, another important decision looms for the Eagles in the form of Jordan Davis. Davis, who was drafted in the first round a few years ago, has shown flashes of promise, but his performance has been inconsistent. The team has an option to pick up his fifth-year option, which would keep him under contract for the 2026 season, but at a significant price tag. The question is Davis worth the $12 million salary for a player who's only participated in about 37% of defensive snaps in the past season? Davis has shown some improvement, especially in his run defense, but he still has a lot to prove. The Eagles have until May 1st to decide whether to exercise the fifth-year option, and that decision will have a huge impact on his future with the team. Looking at Davis's career so far, it's clear that the Eagles are still waiting for him to reach his full potential. He's shown some positive development from 2023 to 2024, but he's far from a finished product. The coaching staff has been working with him to refine his technique and improve his consistency, and there's still hope that he can become a key contributor on the defensive line. But is it worth paying him a large sum of money if he continues to play such a limited role? If the Eagles decide to exercise the option, they'll have to hope that Davis can become more of a full-time player. If they pass on the option, it could mark the end of his time in Philadelphia. In any case, the Eagles find themselves in a delicate position as they try to balance the future of their roster with the current needs of the team. Decisions regarding players like Goedert and Davis will be pivotal for the organization, and they'll have to tread carefully to ensure they're making the right choices. For now, it's clear that the team is in the process of making some important moves, and we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out as the 2025 season approaches. This is just the beginning of a busy offseason for the Eagles, but the foundation for success is being laid right now. As we continue our deep dive into the Philadelphia Eagles offseason decisions, there's still much to explore, particularly when it comes to the team's defensive line and the broader strategic decisions they'll need to make in the coming months. One thing that stands out as we examine the roster is the emphasis on maintaining depth across all positions, but particularly on the defensive side of the ball. After all, the Eagles' defense has been one of the cornerstones of their recent success, and with so much talent already in place, any decisions made now could shape the future of the defense for years to come. Take Jordan Davis, for example. While we've already touched on his situation regarding the fifth-year option, it's important to recognize that his role on the team has been somewhat limited so far. Davis has flashed potential, but his overall contribution has been somewhat muted, especially considering the expectations that surrounded him when he was drafted in the first round. While the coaching staff has worked hard to refine his skills, particularly in his run-stopping ability, Davis has yet to prove that he can be a consistent force on the field. However, there's still hope within the organization that he can develop into a key contributor. The fact that he's had a few solid moments of growth, especially from 2023 to 2024, suggests that the Eagles believe he has more to offer. Yet, the question remains, is it worth investing $12 million in a player who's not yet a regular on the field? With Davis participating in just 37% of defensive snaps last season, it's clear that the coaching staff is still figuring out where he fits in their defensive scheme. While some may argue that Davis is still learning and developing, others may feel that a $12 million price tag is too much for a player with such a limited role. If the Eagles exercise his fifth-year option, they'll be committing a significant amount of money to a player whose long-term role with the team is still uncertain. It's a tricky situation that will require careful consideration, especially as the team continues to assess its defensive needs for the future. Meanwhile, the Eagles' defensive line is already packed with talent. Players like Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, and Brandon Graham have been stalwarts for the team over the years, and they're expected to continue playing key roles as the defense looks to remain one of the best in the league. However, the question of how much longer they can maintain their peak performance is something the Eagles will need to keep an eye on. Cox and Graham, in particular, are on the wrong side of 30, and while they've shown no signs of slowing down, their careers aren't going to last forever. The Eagles have been fortunate to have such a strong defensive line for so long, but the time may be coming when they'll need to make some moves to secure the future of the defense. It's likely that the Eagles will use the upcoming draft to add depth to their defensive line. The team has shown a willingness in the past to draft high-caliber defensive players, and given the aging of some of their key contributors, this could be the perfect time to bring in a young, dynamic player who can eventually take over for the veterans on the roster. The Eagles have a history of making smart, strategic moves in the draft, and if they choose to prioritize the defensive line, it could pay off in a big way down the road. In addition to the decisions regarding players like Davis, Goedert, and the defensive line, there's also the matter of the team's overall cap situation to consider. The Eagles have made a habit of restructuring contracts to free up cap space, and they'll likely continue to do so in order to make sure they can retain their key players. However, as the salary cap continues to rise and more money gets allocated to the team's top players, it's going to become more difficult to maintain that level of flexibility. The front office will need to make sure they're not overextending themselves by paying too much for players who may not be living up to their contracts. Of course, when it comes to roster decisions, the Eagles have a unique advantage in having one of the best general managers in the league in Howie Roseman. Roseman has consistently shown the ability to make the right moves at the right time, whether it's through the draft, free agency, or trades. His knack for finding undervalued players and bringing them into the fold has been a major factor in the Eagles' success over the past few years. It's this level of expertise that makes the team's future so promising, regardless of the challenges they may face in the immediate term. Another area that's worth examining is the Eagles' offensive strategy. While much of the focus has been on the team's defense and the potential for changes to the roster, the offense remains a key part of their identity. With quarterback Jalen Hurts emerging as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, the Eagles' offense is in a strong position to continue excelling. Hurts has shown remarkable growth over the past few seasons, and with an offensive line that's expected to remain solid and a receiving core that's filled with talent, the Eagles are poised to be one of the most dangerous offenses in the league. That being said, there are still some unanswered questions. While Hurts' development is undoubtedly exciting, he's still relatively young, and there's always the risk that he could face challenges as defenses start to figure him out. That's why it's crucial for the Eagles to surround him with as much support as possible. The offensive line must continue to protect him, and the team's playmakers need to remain consistent. If the Eagles can maintain their offensive dominance while simultaneously making the necessary improvements on defense, they could remain one of the top teams in the NFC for years to come. All in all, the Eagles are in an interesting position. They have a strong roster with plenty of talent, but there are still some key decisions to be made in order to ensure long-term success. From Dallas Goedert's future to the fate of Jordan Davis and the ongoing evolution of their defensive line, the front office has a lot on its plate. The good news is that the Eagles have the right leadership in place to make those decisions, and their track record speaks for itself. With the right moves, the Eagles can continue to be a powerhouse in the NFL, and fans can look forward to what the future holds for this exciting team. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Could this be the blockbuster move of the 2025 NFL season? Rumors are swirling, and the possibility of Christian Darrisaw, the Minnesota Vikings star offensive tackle, making his way to the Philadelphia Eagles has taken the NFL by storm. With a career full of highs and a promising future ahead, the thought of Darrisaw protecting Jalen Hurts' blindside is enough to make any Eagles fan sit up and take notice. But is this move realistic, or just another offseason rumor to ignite fan excitement? Darrisaw, who has been a key player for the Vikings since being selected in the 2021 NFL Draft, has faced both challenges and triumphs during his career. After a rough start in his rookie season due to injury, he came back strong, playing in 12 games and starting 10. His growth has been undeniable, with his 2022 and 2023 seasons showing improvement in both health and performance. This past season, he started 15 games, showcasing why the Vikings picked up his fifth-year option and ultimately handed him a 4-year, $113 million contract extension. But now, as the Vikings try to balance their roster, could they be ready to move on from Darrisaw? The rumors started to intensify after Darrisaw's season-ending knee injury in Week 8 of the 2024 NFL season. The Vikings' offensive line struggles were more evident without him, and as the team contemplates its future, questions around Darrisaw's recovery and long-term fit have emerged. Could the Eagles, who are in need of a dominant tackle to further strengthen their offensive line, be the perfect landing spot for Darrisaw? The possibility of pairing him with Lane Johnson and Jason Kelce is a tantalizing thought for any football fan. Philadelphia has long been known for its aggressive moves in the trade and free agent market, especially when it comes to building around their franchise quarterback. Jalen Hurts has proven to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and adding a player like Darrisaw would only elevate his chances of further success. With Hurts needing solid protection, particularly as the team aims for another Super Bowl run, Darrisaw's addition could be a game-changer for the Eagles' offense. Imagine the explosive offensive line they could field, imposing, physical, and with depth to spare. Christian Darrisaw's skills on the field have made him one of the most talked-about young offensive tackles in the NFL. Known for his incredible strength and athleticism, he has the rare combination of power and quickness that allows him to dominate defenders. Whether it's in the running game or protecting the quarterback, Darrisaw's ability to move defenders off the line with sheer force has earned him praise across the league. His natural talent in pass protection, combined with his fluid footwork, makes him a nightmare for opposing edge rushers. If he were to join the Eagles, this dynamic skill set would bolster an already formidable offensive line. What truly sets Darrisaw apart is his ability to maintain control and awareness under pressure. He possesses a rare blend of technical skill and physicality, especially in high-stress situations. His poise in one-on-one battles and ability to adjust to various defensive schemes have made him a reliable presence for the Vikings. In the fast-paced NFL, this level of consistency is invaluable, and the Eagles would be gaining a lineman who can lock down his side of the field against some of the league's toughest pass rushers. His blend of patience and aggressiveness could be exactly what Philadelphia needs to solidify their offense. Darrisaw's potential for growth is another exciting factor. At just 25 years old, he's only scratched the surface of what he could achieve. His development since his rookie year has been rapid, and his physical tools suggest that he could continue to elevate his play to an elite level. The Eagles could be the perfect environment for him to take that next step. With veteran leadership around him, particularly from Jason Kelce, Darrisaw could refine his technique even further and transform into one of the best tackles in the game. The future is incredibly bright for him, and any team that secures his services will be investing in a top-tier talent for years to come. Adding Darrisaw to the Eagles' offensive line would provide an immediate upgrade. His presence would not only enhance pass protection for Jalen Hurts, but also improve the team's run-blocking capabilities, allowing them to maintain their aggressive ground game. The Eagles' ability to dominate at the line of scrimmage is one of their trademarks, and Darrisaw could amplify this, creating even more opportunities for their offense to thrive. The thought of Darrisaw and Hurts working in tandem, with both mobility and power, is enough to get any Eagles fan excited for the future. As the days go by, the speculation only grows, and fans across the league are eagerly awaiting the next chapter in Christian Darrisaw's career. Could this be the season the Eagles make a shocking move to secure one of the NFL's top young offensive tackles? Or will the Vikings hold on to their prized line, hoping that he can return to form after his knee injury? The next few weeks will undoubtedly reveal more, but one thing is for certain. The 2025 offseason promises to be one full of surprises. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.